All right. Hello, Ace family. I wanted to take today and go over some of the tools in our tool section so that we can be very specific and provide the right solutions to our customers that are coming in. So um, this is going to be kind of a lot of items, and there's specific sizes for different applications. So it's going to look like we have a lot of different products, but it's just because there tends to be a ton of sizes in the tools section. So don't be overwhelmed. It's going to be nice and easy. Hopefully we get through this and everyone's smarter at the end. So I wanted to start off by just basic drill bits. So this planogram section right here has a bunch of drill bits in it, and generally we carry three types. So one is going to be a black oxide, and that's going to be a good drill bit. The titanium is going to be the next. So right here we've got the black oxide, and then right here we have the titanium. The titanium is better, and then we have the cobalt on top, which is the best. So kind of a good, better, best for a customer. Each one will work for metal, wood, and plastics. Basically anything except for masonry drill bits. That's going to be covered later, but each one is going to last longer. So these are usable tools, and that means that they do have a life on them. They don't have a lifetime warranty on them. Usually if someone is using it the first day, and they might break, a drill bit breaks sometimes, but after a day or two, they're general use tools, and they're meant to be replaced. So what's special, one thing I want to point out on the drill bits is the shank on them. So the shank means where they go into the drill. So on the black oxide we have a smooth shank, and then it is like that on the cobalt drill bits, where they have a smooth shank as well. On the titanium they have a hex shank, and these are great for a compact impact drill, which we'll go over in another video, but they're that hex shape that clips right in, and it doesn't spin inside the chuck as these others might. But if you want the top of the line drill bit, agriculture is very heavy in our area, and most of the time we're selling the cobalt drill bits because we're dealing with real thick metal, and the customer needs to go ahead and get through that. So the other thing you might see is that we might have some other brands in front of others. Right now we're in the transition of switching, so we're getting rid of this drill bit right here, this Irwin brand. We're going to Milwaukee, so we just have one left. We just threw it up front, and that's all that is, just so you know the reason to that. So again, we've got the good, better, and then best. The cobalt drill bits being the best, they go up to 1/2 of an inch. And then the titanium drill bits, right here we've got a little multi-pack here with a few different sizes, and then these also go up to, so they go this row, and then they go up to 1/2 of an inch. It's only when we get into the black oxide drill bits, which are the basic, that the black oxide goes up past 1/2 an inch, and the black oxide we carry up to an inch in that size. So if someone's after a drill bit going through wood or metal, and they need something hefty, the black oxide is going to be the way to go. It's still going to get through. We have multi-pack sets on top that have the black oxide, the titanium, and then the cobalt drill bits, so that the customer can get the right set if they're after a set. And then down here we have a few more sizes. So right on the bottom we have the 1 foot long drill bit, so sometimes you need something longer when you're going through it. And then I want to get into some of the sets. So a lot of these might be left over from a sell or promotion that maybe they're trying to earn a spot on the shelf. So we have these down here. might not be items we're necessarily keeping, but just to have more selection for the customer. And then I wanted to get into some of the specialty tools. So one of the specialty tools we have right here is called a Forstner bit. And a Forstner bit, we've got them from 3/8 of an inch up to a 2-inch size, and they make a hole. They're only for wood. They make a hole in wood, but a hole saw, which we'll get to later, it has teeth that goes around, so the wood comes out with it. You have like a circular puck when you get done drilling it, and these it kind of shaves everything out, and they're pretty beefy if you're doing a lot of holes. So nice to have around. The other thing, and this is something that we sell a lot in our area, are they're unibits or step drill bits. And what these are is a one size fits all drill bit. So you might start with a small size, but then it goes way bigger, and they drill holes very quickly. They're expensive, but they're very nice. Customer generally knows when they're looking for something like this, but they're great. Let's see, we do have some additional sets. So everything on top has a bunch of drill bits. Some of these sets have drill bits with them, but they have extra tips, which you're going to get into on the next section for different drilling applications. Here's another one with some drill bits, but it also has some hex drivers and nut drivers and star bits and whatnot. This is one of the tools that's kind of neat that not a lot of people know about. And if you have a bolt that's been stuck on for just years and years, and usually it's big, you get a little bit of penetrating oil spray like a WD-40 or a Master Blaster or something like that. And then this is actually made for taking out bolts. So what you do is you get your right bit on the screw on the bolt, and you smack it with a hammer, and that hammer pushes it in, but it turns the mechanism a little bit. So you can kind of help get stubborn bolts out that are stuck. So I think that's pretty much everything for this section. So we'll go ahead and move along to the next section here. This section has so we're done with the drill bits for metal, wood, and plastic, and we're on to driver bits, and these are generally for a drill. So up here we have hex bits for a drill, so there's metric and standard. Up top here we have a small package of security bits, and security bits are specialty drill bits that are generally on the outside of trailers, so that someone can't just take a regular bit and undo a trailer or a container to get inside of it. They're kind of to prevent theft, but we've got a little package in there. We've got regular Torx bits, which are a star drive bit for screws, and they're very popular because they do not strip, but there's many different sizes. These three right here, these are driver bit sets, but they have an extending sleeve so that if you're drilling, you don't have to hold your finger there. This sleeve holds the screw for you so that you don't cam out and get your own hand or something. So it helps you be a little bit safer, but also helps you hold it too if you're hanging on with one hand or need your other hand free. Those are kind of nice. So we've got those three different sizes, and then we get into a nice little extension bit set, and then we have a few different extension bit styles. So from a 3-inch to a 6-inch to a 12-inch style. These ones are magnetic, so that you just throw the bit in and they stay by a magnet. These ones are by a locking collar, so they work by pulling that down and putting the bit in so they don't fall out. based on what the customer wants, that's up to them, but those are the different styles that there are. Now, coming into here, we have a swivel head or a pivot head that can take many different drill bits on here. And then when you're doing sheetrock, you don't want your screw head to go in too far. Otherwise, there's more mudding for you to do, and it's just kind of a pain. And if you don't do it far enough, well, then you have to go and re-drill it so you go in further. You want it flush with the sheetrock. Now, that's exactly what these bits are designed to do. They have a little shoulder on them, so they're specifically for drywall. Very popular when someone's picking up sheetrock. Here we have some more multi-bit sets, and they're the more popular ones. So you have bigger packages of the square drive, you have your bigger packages of Torx, your Phillips number 2 is the most popular size, and then we've got our a few Torx bits here. For these 2 rows, I would like to just go over these real quick. On the bottom, we have the taller ones, and on the top we have the shorter ones. They will both go in the drills the same, but sometimes the job or task requires a longer bit or a shorter bit, so we've got options there. As far as organization, the same bit is on top as what's below. It's just the length that's different. So we go with a Phillips 1, then Phillips 2, which is the most popular, and then we go Phillips 3, and that's smallest to largest, so number 3 is the bigger one. And then we do the same thing as the drill bits here, where if we've got a brand we're getting rid of, kind of put it in front, and then we've got the brand Milwaukee that we're keeping behind it, just so we can get rid of some of that. Then we go square 1, square 2, and then we've got a square 3. And then we have some of the Torx bits right here from and Torx, it always starts with a T, so a T10, T15, T20, T25, T30, T40, and so on. Then we've got some flathead bits. Here we have some multi-packs. Sometimes you're doing 2 different applications at once where you need 2 different drivers. So we have combination bits right here with maybe a customer's not sure if they need like a T20 or a T25. Well, they can get away with buying 1 drill bit and then, or 1 driver bit, and then they know that they're covered for the task they have to do. Then we get into some longer driver bits right here. Sometimes you need even longer length, and maybe an extension won't fit, so that's why we have these right here. Sometimes you have such a tight angle that you need to get in somewhere, so this is a nice little L device where you have your drill right here, and you can put in a little drill bit, and you can go ahead and get in somewhere very tight, where if you had your drill, maybe it wouldn't fit. Right here, these tools are bolt extractors. So if a bolt is stripped, they're supposed to be 6-sided hex. If you have a poor tool or it's in there real good, sometimes it can be rounded out. These are meant to be extractors, so they're only for removing, they're not for fastening, but they'll help to grip that and hopefully pull it out. These are socket adapter extensions. We've got 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2 an inch, and we've got a multi-pack of all 3 of them. And this is great if you're doing a lot of bolts and you've got a lot of fastening to do. You can get some sockets that'll clip into these, and then you can go ahead and put a bunch in or take a bunch out, and it makes the job a lot quicker. So very popular for ag. Down here we kind of have the same thing. You can kind of see a little bit more what I'm talking about, as it's so popular that we actually have a set with 2 of the sockets in it, so that they can be more efficient with the drill. These are nut drivers, so you go from 1/4, 5/16, 3/8, 7/16, and 1/2. And these, again, meant to go on a drill. They are magnetic, which comes in handy, and they're very common for fastening bolts or self-tapping screws for sheet metal applications. And the magnet hangs onto it, and you can go through a lot of screws here. Here we've got some packages of the nut drivers here, and on the bottom we have countersink drill bits. So you have to buy this countersink for the right size. So for instance, this number 10, this is for a number 10 screw, and if you have a flat head that's shaped like an upside down cone, so you have the top of the head might be a flat head or a Phillips, and then it kind of tapers down, and then you actually have the screw that's on the bottom, and this will make the wood so that when you fasten that screw down, it's totally flat with the wood. So very popular in cabinetry. And these are for wood. We've got a little set of them along with the different sizes, and then some separate plug cutters and countersink cutters here. Another style, so this is a drill bit, but it is separate from the drill bits we went over. This is a drill bit that works for glass, tile, and porcelain. So if you tried to use a regular drill bit for those applications, for those materials, it would crack it. These are special drill bits designed for those materials so that you can go through it for some mounting screws for a handrail, or maybe installing a mirror or something, so you can actually go through and drill through glass or tile for a bathroom. Over here we have diamond hole saws, and diamond hole saws are similar for these glass cutting drill bits, just a bigger size. They are for they're for glass and tile, and they work for stone too. So if you're talking about marble or granite and someone needs to cut a hole, this is a great recommendation. So so that they have a nice clean cut, and it's just about using the proper tool for the right job. So everything has a purpose, and that's what we have here. So it's just kind of keeping all that in mind. Some of the bigger ones, so when you have smaller diamond drill bits, they do not require a pilot bit, but when you get to the bigger ones, they do. And so a pilot bit, all it is a drill bit coming out of the center, and that keeps the hole steady so that you don't like go crazy or have unclean lines. It'll go right through the middle and keep it stationary in one spot so that you have a nice clean drill. And you can just read the package. All of them will tell you if there's a pilot bit required, and we've got these right here. I'm gonna come back over here real quick. We have, oh my goodness, these are router bits. Took me a second, obviously. So these router bits, they're all different sizes. If someone's looking for a router bit, most likely they're going to ask because they've got the tool and they know what that is. But they're for shaping wood, common on trim and woodworking. And we have all sorts of different sizes here, as well as a nice little variety pack, so you get a few different ones. As we move up here, we have more drill bits, and these drill bits, they're meant to all be separated so that you can tell them apart and lead the customer to the right spot. But these drill bits have what are called an SDS chuck on them. And an SDS chuck, all that means is their drill has an SDS chuck. So instead of being the regular rounded out chuck that most drills have, they have a little, you see that okay? Okay. Have a little recess in them for the drill, and they're only for masonry applications. Usually a hammer drill will have that chuck. There are hammer drills with a regular chuck, but just trying to be clear on these. And these are SDS chuck, and they are for masonry applications. So masonry being cinder block, concrete, brick, anything with a sort of mortar or concrete application. Up here we have assortment packs of those masonry drill bits, and then we can go ahead and move over to the next section. So the next section here, we have hole saws, and hole saws are meant for steel or wood. And again, this is a situation where we kind of have the Ace brand is good, and then we have the Milwaukee on the bottom that is the best as far as quality. Both of them work for both wood and metal, and they work by they have teeth around, and then you always use a pilot bit for the drill. So you'll take the drill bit out and it will cut around, and you'll be left with a little disc, a little puck, so that when you get done making your hole. So this means that as deep as you can go is what you're limited to by the depth of the hole saw with those. So that's one reason someone might use a Forstner bit instead. Right here, we've got a ton of different sizes. So if it's smart to go ahead and get calipers for a customer if they're trying to get a bolt or a pipe to fit just right. We can get some calipers for them, and just make sure sometimes you might want to go just a hair bigger to make sure it's snug, but you still have room to get the pipe in. Then they don't have to come back and buy another one. The Ace branded bits, they don't have a separate chuck piece, but they do have a separate drill bit that you do have to purchase for them. So this drill bit will go in the middle of the hole saw, and so it's a great add-on sale so that we don't leave the customer needing to make another trip to us. The Milwaukee bits are sold a little bit differently. They don't come with a drill ready attachment on the Milwaukee. They just come bare. You can see it pretty well right here, and they're meant to be to actually have a pilot bit that comes with them. So the pilot bit applications have a center drill bit that will go with them, and that drill bit will be replaceable in all these, so you don't have to buy a new chuck. But they do have one size for up to 1 3/16, and then when you get bigger, they've got these that will go up to the next bigger size. So these go from 1 1/4 to 6 7/8. So pretty darn massive. But we've got all these right here. And again, these are for wood and metal, whereas the other hole saws we had, the other Milwaukee ones, the diamond tip, those are for the stone, tile, and glass sort of deal. So the last thing I wanted to say on the hole saws is we did have some extension bits that we went over earlier, and those are for 1/4 inch hex bits. We do have one more extension that is a 3/8 of an inch extension. So I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but the one on your right is a lot smaller than this 3/8 extension, and hopefully that's visible okay. This is meant to fit on hole saws, so if somebody does have to go down further, anything with that bigger shank on it, that's what this tool's going to go on right there. So moving on from that, there's of course more ways to drill and fasten, and that's what we have here. So we do have, starting off, we do have more hammer drill bits or masonry drill bits. And again, masonry is for brick, concrete, stone, cinder block, stuff like that. The reason we have the masonry drill bits here and then the SDS ones that we already went over is these ones have a different shank on them. They require a different chuck with the grill. with the drill. These are a smooth shank drill bit. So these will work on any drill, whereas the SDS chucks right here, they have to have the SDS drill bit. A regular one will not fit into there. So that's why we have them in two different spots, just to make sure it's clear for the customer. We don't accidentally give them the wrong one. So part of that customer service deal, making sure we get them taken care of the first time. So these are the masonry drill bits right here. And then along the bottom, we do have some of the longer ones. So these are 1 foot long drill bits, and they're the masonry smooth shank. Just sometimes you need a little bit extra length on there. Multi-packs of hole saws, and then here we get into paddle bits. We've got long paddle bits, and then we've got short paddle bits. And paddle bits, they cut a hole quickly. They are for wood applications, and they just they cut a hole quickly. You can kind of see on these that they copy the hole saw, where you kind of have a pilot bit to keep the hole center and round, so that goes in, and then the rest of it cuts it, and before long you have a nice clean hole quickly. Let's see, we've got sets of paddle bits on top here, and then we have these are kind of similar to paddle bits. They're a speed bore bit. These are a little bit higher quality, a little bit faster, but you pay a little bit more for them, so that's up to the customer, but that's what those are. And then right here, these are auger bits, and these are very popular with electricians. They use auger bits quite frequently, and some of these, even especially the longer ones, even have a wire pulling hole on the end, so that when they go through a lot of wood, they can hook their wire on and just pull it through, and then it's kind of a 2-in-1 tool. So that can be kind of nifty for them, but they get through wood quickly as well. So I think that's about it for this section. We'll go ahead and move on one step closer here. So these are more cutting tools. Up top here we have jigsaw blades. Jigsaw blades are for wood and metal. They make them for both. You just have to read the bottom of the package to know which one is which. And then we have two different styles. So there's two common styles for jigsaws. I'll grab a package to kind of show the difference here. One of them is a smooth shank style, where that's how it clips in. You see that okay? And then the other one is a T style. So the customer just needs to know which style it is, and then of course we can always, if they bring in their tool, we can make sure it fits before they walk out the door. But there's that T style, and then there's the smooth shank style. And then we actually do carry one more, and really old jigsaws, they used to have a hole in them, and so this one should work for either the smooth, or if they have a little pin that goes through that hole, but it tends to be older jigsaws available. So just so you're aware of all the options and what we have here. Let's see, moving on, we've got Sawzall. That's the Milwaukee name, or reciprocating saw is the generic name, but these are Sawzall blades. And Sawzall, we've got the assortment packs, they always have a tip. This is how they clip in. There's no other style for it. So whether it's a DeWalt, a Milwaukee, a Craftsman, whatever is sold, they always have this, so that they always clip in. Sometimes customers are worried about compatibility issues. Sawzalls or jigsaw, or not jigsaws, goodness, reciprocating saws, that is, they will always fit. So that'll be great. Going down on the organization of how we have this section here, we have the 5-pack, multi-packs, and then if a customer just needs a kind of an economical one, we've got single pack blades right here. So the Ace is good. The Milwaukee is going to be the premium, the best for the customer. It's going to last the longest, be the most durable. How these are organized is there's a split right here down the middle. So right here, we have on the left metal cutting blades. So short metal cutting blades, long metal cutting blades, and then over here we have wood cutting blades, and then we have wood cutting blades on this side on the right, or general purpose blades. So for instance, the axe right here is built to cut wood, but if you hit a nail or two, it's not going to mess up the blade, whereas a regular wood blade it would. So it can handle a little bit of metal as well. There's some all-purpose blades. That's what Milwaukee designates the wrecker blade for. That it'll go through plastic, metal, wood. If you're not sure what you're going to hit, that might be a good option for a blade. And then there's some specialty blades, like a flush cut blade. If you're doing some woodworking where it's got to be nice and neat and flush, that could be a good option. And then this cast iron blade here called the Torch. It's got a diamond grit in it, and cast iron is not very much fun to cut. It is dense and it takes a long time, and they make a special blade for that. Well worth the money when you're doing a project like that. So on the bottom here, these are not popular in our area, but these are scroll saw blades. And a customer has that tool, they will ask if we have any scroll saw blades. That's what they are. They're kind of hidden, they're not popular, but we can still get them taken care of if they have it. So moving on up here, we have multi-tool blades. And the multi-tool blades, there's some specific to drywall, there's some that are general purpose, copper, wood, PVC, drywall. There's some that are for metal. There's a whole bunch here. There's some that are for grout applications too. There's some with sandpaper on them so that they can fit the multi-tools. So a customer generally knows what they're looking for, but we have a lot of tools, and Milwaukee's a nice high quality name in that area. Now we get into circular saw blades. 5 3/8, 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 7 1/4. There's many sizes of circular saw blades, but the most popular is the 6 1/2 and the 7 1/4. That's what most contractors are carrying as far as a blade, and we sell those quite frequently. They are for wood. You don't want to hit a nail in it. You're probably going to have to get a new blade, but they're very popular with contractors. We do have some, these are still cutting circular blades where you have aluminum specific or steel specific that will cut. That requires a specific saw, but the customer generally knows what they're looking for there. And then we get into some 10-inch blades and 12-inch blades right here, to where there's different tooth counts. So generally, if you have more teeth, it's going to be a smoother cut. And if you have less teeth, it's going to might be a little bit faster to cut, but it's not going to be quite as smooth. So that's kind of the trade-off that a lot of folks look at with a different amount of teeth. And then keeping with the circular saw blades, we have the 4-inch and 4.5-inch size. They will fit generally on a grinder, and these are diamond blades right here, these blue packages. They are for cutting tile, cutting concrete, kind of masonry applications, just like the drill bits over. They won't do glass, but any sort of granite or or a stone, they should do just fine as. So 4-inch, 4.5-inch, and then we've got the 7-inch, and each one has different blade types. So again, there's that trade-off between the teeth of a smooth, slow cut, or maybe a jagged little bit of faster cut. So, and then we have stuff that will go right into a grinder to smooth it out. This is a diamond cup wheel to help. Sometimes you have to smooth out concrete or grind some out, so that would be the tool for that. Then we have some little metal cutoff wheels here. When we get into the grinder wheels specifically, we have them divided up a little bit different. So halfway here on top, the top row is 4.5-inch, and then the bottom row is 4-inch. There's grinders that take both. The 4.5-inch is the most common in our area, and from here over to the left, these are metal cutting blades. From here over to the right, these are masonry blades. So it's very common to have someone, there's a lot of people that don't know that you can have a masonry blade. They think it's for metal. So I like, when we're checking people out, just to say, hey, awesome, so you grabbed a masonry blade, you're doing some work with masonry, doing some work with brick or concrete or something. They may not be. About half the time they go, no, why do you ask that? I'm cutting metal. Well, they mistakenly grabbed a metal blade, so this could really save someone. So just like to keep that in mind if someone purchases these, that usually they're kind of after a metal blade, at least in our area. So we've got what's called a skinny wheel. This is for cutting. This is for cutting and grinding, a little bit thicker. And then we have a grinding wheel. You see those thicknesses okay? Okay, awesome. So we have those for each one, and that kind of rounds it out. We get into some bigger grinding wheels here, as well as some flat disc wheels. So if you're doing a lot of sanding, these actually have sandpaper on them, made to go on a grinder, so that people can get the paint off or get the wood sanded or whatever. But this generally is a wood or metal use. Maybe get some rust off of metal, get that taken care of. And they come in different grits as well. This particular one that I grabbed is 36 grit, which is fairly aggressive. There's 60 and 80 grit as well that we have. Got the rest of these blades down below. Sometimes there's a blade, so this is a grinding wheel blade, but it's actually got threads, whereas the other ones will clip on with a nut to lock in, and these will clip on with threads, just the type of blade, just depending on what the customer wants. And then down here we have the metal cutoff blades. So these are generally for cutting either masonry or metal, but they're for 10-inch, 12-inch, 14-inch blades. Someone who's looking for these might know what they need. So I think that's probably a good stopping point. Okay, hello Ace family. We're gonna continue our discussion and organization about the tools and some of their purposes and what we're going with. We left off on the grinding discs and cutoff wheels and skinny wheels. I wanted to go over the attachment brushes. So there's a few different kinds, few different grits. Some of them are twisted, so they're a little bit more aggressive. Some of them are straight, but generally you're just gonna have to look at them. There's some that have the stem, and if it has a stem, it's going to attach to a drill, and some of these are straight, and then there's some with a stem that go out. So instead of the bristles go the other way, but they both attach to a drill. There's some others that get bigger, and the cup wheels, and then we get into the ones that are actually made to go onto a grinder, and these will thread on just like some of the cutoff discs did. For an example of twisted versus non-twisted, just want to show you the twisted DeWalt one here on your right is going to be more aggressive than the non-twisted Ace one on the left. So just to give you an idea of how that works in the real world. Next, we kind of go on to some of the buffing wheels that we carry, and there's these can go on a grinder, on a bench wheel. They can go on a drill as well. We have an adapter set. This is an arbor adapter set. You notice that there's nothing for the drill to attach onto, so that's where you take this arbor adapter, and that makes it go on a drill. All of these cloths and stuff, these packages right here, they're not very descriptive. The packaging isn't very good, but on the back there's different color of bar on these, and these are different types of polish, so you can see that very clearly. On the front side, what it has is a bunch of text. So some of these are for aluminum and copper, and some of them are for gold and silver. I'll grab another one here. This one's for steel, iron, and stainless steel. So there's just some things that you'll just have to read a little bit just to make sure we're getting the right application for the customer. But it's all on these on the front of these packages, so you know what you're looking at. Here's another style of bristle brush. They have the grit equivalent on the bottom right here, and they help to take paint off, just a different style of a tool for a customer to have to give more options. Down here, we've got something that's kind of important for us, especially in the ag, and that's this is a special wrench. It's like a spanner wrench essentially, and this will take the nut off of any grinder. So every grinder has a little nut you have to tighten and loosen, and every brand has a different span. This will do all the spans, so this can really help get someone out of a jam. The other thing we have down here is little finishing discs, and these are for, they go on finishing tools, so we've got some customers that request those. Moving on, next here we have we've got a few different tools here. So the first thing is we have taps, and then we have dies and extractor sets. So again, taps, dies, and extractor sets. So a tap is a tool. It's a male thread. I'll grab a bigger one here, see if you can see that. So it's got male threads on it. If someone is making something out of metal and they have to thread a bolt into something, this is what cuts the threads for the bolt. So that's called a tap, and we have the different devices here, a T-handle wrench to attach to this to go in so it can actually cut the metal as you go into the metal. The inverse of that, if you have a shaft of metal that you want to add threads onto, that's called a die, and it's the female portion, but it's just female, and it will cut threads on a straight piece of metal. So taps, dies, and we've got all different sizes. On top we have the metric sizes, and then after that we've got all the standard sizes. You do have to pay attention to the back, to the package. You may have to go to the back to look at our nut and bolt section, to look at if it's coarse thread or fine thread, just to pay attention that we're getting the customer the right item that they want. So the other thing is down here in the plumbing videos we talk about pipe thread, and bolt thread is different from pipe thread. So right here we actually have some taps that are a pipe thread near the bottom. So keep that in mind when someone's plumbing and they need to make threads, or sometimes they're trying to clean up threads on something for them. So the others that we have right here are extractor sets. there's two different types. There's a straight screw extractor, which is on your left, and then there's a spiral screw extractor that's on the right. And how these work is actually the same way as the taps, so I'm going to do it all at once. They tell you what size of drill bit you have to use, and on the bigger ones they're going to use a bigger drill bit. When you're on the smaller ones, it might say a number 48 drill bit. So we'll go down here and we've got a whole bunch of drill bits right here of the different sizes that they're made for metal or wood, but most of the time they're going to be used for metal. And these are specifically sized. Generally you don't use regular drill bits until you get the bigger sizes. But what you do is you drill a hole, and the drill bit is going to be slightly smaller than the tap or the screw extractor that you're doing, so that you can actually, it'll still cut into the metal. So once you drill the hole, either the screw extractor will go in and you can twist out the bolt, or the tap will go in and you can go ahead and cut the threads in there. So that's a little bit on how those work and what people use them for. There's some kits on the left here, and we actually do on the bottom carry a bigger set, so that a lot of mechanics might like to have this in their vehicle, because they come up with that a lot. So let's see, we have the next thing that we've got are, if you have a smaller screw that's got the head broke off or somebody has stripped it, that's exactly what these little kits are for. They are made to be kind of a two-in-one, a drill bit extractor. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money but you need to get a bolt out, this could get someone out of a jam right there. So we've got a few different kinds of those, but generally that's the taps and dies. Now we can move on to the measuring devices here. So tape measures are fairly straightforward. There are some features on some of these that might be a little different. I'll point them out real fast, but just check them out. Generally, you put them out. They've got a lock on them to lock the tape in there when you're measuring. And something that kind of feel silly about that I didn't know when I first started is there's always a little bit of wiggle in the end of a tape measure, and that's to account for the thickness of this piece of metal. So if you're measuring this way, it gives you a true measurement, and if you're hooking onto something and going this way, it accounts for that. So that's why it wiggles, and they all wiggle. So nice little fun fact for you. So some of these tape measures, so the Stanley lever lock, it always locks. That's its default. You actually have to grab the bottom of it to let it out. So some people like to have it basically locked by standard, but everyone knows kind of what they're looking for as a tape measure. Some of them have a magnetic end. Some people don't care for that, so that's fine. That's why we've got options. Not everybody likes the same thing. We do have, on the bottom, we do have some bigger tape measures if you're marking something large out. And then up here, we're out of them right now and we're shooting this, but we've got some 100-foot ones too that'll go in that spot. And then we also do carry a measuring wheel, and this will do about 10,000 feet. It unclicks and extends so that you can walk and measure something. In our area, it might be a potato cellar. So let's see, there's another one right here on the bottom that's something similar, just smaller wheels, but does the same job. So let's see, something I want to point out that are just awesome and super convenient. These are laser tape measures, and so what you do with those is you put them against the surface and it shoots a laser, and it will tell you within 1/8 of an inch what the measurement of something is. So that comes in handy. And these will actually record your measurements too. So a carpenter looking at them, they can hit a button and they can take all their measurements to, let's say, put trim in a house without writing anything down. Anyway, it's pretty neat. But there's a 30-foot. This one goes to a 65-foot, and then we've got this guy right here that goes 165 foot. So you can go quite a distance, and I don't know how they make it accurate to 1/8 of an inch over 100 foot, but anyway, that's how it is. So moving on to the knives and whatnot, there's all sorts of different preferences with knives. Milwaukee is big in our area. A lot of folks like Milwaukee. That's the knife that I carry. Some of these that flip out. This 2-pack right here, and then all of them that we're missing actually do flip, but once you get used to that, that's nice. One thing I do like to point out to customers is on some of the Milwaukees, you can actually store extra blades, which is awesome because you don't realize you need an extra blade until you're actually cutting stuff. So it's nice that they're right there. So I like to recommend those a lot to customers, but again, everyone's got a preference. We've got the Leathermans up top, and then we have spare blades across the board. So there's all sorts of different shapes and sizes, but the regular pointed ones like this, and that's going to be what's in the Milwaukee packages too. Those are by far the most popular, what customers are looking for. So let's see, then we have kind of the regular utility knives here, which do take similar blades. Towards the bottom, we do have smaller utility knives, and then the some folks call them X-Acto knives, but they are like a pencil with a razor blade on the end of them, and that makes precise cuts for the customer. There's a lot of craft folks that will do these, and having this big set with a lot of options is pretty awesome too. That makes a lot of people happy. We do have some of the inexpensive, just throwaway knives on the bottom here. So when someone's buying a lot of them, that can be a good buy for them. Also along the bottom, we do have hard hats and face shields when people are doing some of the stuff. A lot of times when you're using these knives, you need some safety equipment too. So we've got that right next to it. So customers can not forget about their safety. So we've got masks, all different kits and whatnot, different sizes, different qualities. Something that's popular for us is we've got 10 packs and 20 packs of the masks that we have on the bottom. And if someone's needing something less than that, then of course we've got these smaller packs on the top. And everyone's got their preference as far as comfort and stuff. Along the bottom, we have all the earplugs and hearing protection that will go over the ear, and some reusable throwaway, just depending on what the customer is looking for. Here we have flagging tape, caution tape, and then we get into the chalk lines. The chalk lines are for marking. That's going to be common with contractors, rolling it up and being able to keep a straight line. We do have the refills over here on the bottom, and I guess we can tilt the camera and show you. Irwin does a pretty good job of these, the packaging, so they tell you how permanent the chalk line is. So I believe it's the pink that's kind of the less permanent, and as you go up, I believe it's the black that actually gives you the most, the hardiest chalk line, I guess. So there's several options for the customer there, but they're conveniently next to the full reels. We've got the string lines that are real common with excavation and contractors too, and then of course marking flags. My brother is colorblind, so we always try to buy the white ones because he can see those the best, but usually customers have a good idea of what color flag they want. When we move over a little bit more here, we get into, we do have some marking tools on the bottom. So these are lumber crayons, carpenter's pencils, which are oval instead of the round school pencils we're used to seeing. And then we have paint markers and sharpeners, of course, for the pencils. So that's all on the bottom. Over on the right side, we've got all the sort of levels. When you have a level that's kind of fits in your hand compact, this is called a torpedo level. So nice and easy to carry around and handy for a job site. We've got some squares, and we have some magnetic tape and some hooks, and this can be nice if someone's trying to hang something magnetically. Some of these we can actually put a bolt through, whether it's an I bolt or a J hook, and let them hang something that they're looking for. So just an idea to help us solve a problem for a customer in the future. We have magnetic pickup pens. This right here is a special square. This is a drywall square, so when guys are cutting drywall, then they'll generally need one of these drywall T-squares. So very popular to have. Got some other square stud finders up top, and they're real easy to use. Just don't ever forget, good ad on sale, just making sure that customers have batteries with these so that we can save them a trip. We don't want them going home and going, well, forgot those, so back up to town they go. But nice and convenient. Right here we have calipers, and I'm gonna be doing a separate video because I use calipers 3 or 4 times a week, and they're so convenient. So I'm gonna do a video on these where I can teach you how to use these, because it comes in handy a lot. Different rulers, different grabber tools, different pickup tools. So this particular one is a claw to pick stuff up, whereas the telescoping pens are common too for picking up metal objects. We've got, I'm just trying to point a little bit everything out. A plumb bob helps you get a line. Here we have a post leveling tool to make sure it's square height wise, left and right, and then deep wise too. We went over the torpedo levels. We've got another pickup tool, and then down here we do have a compass pencil compass. We've got a probe set that has some hooks, and then we do have let's see, like a scriber pen too for folks. So anyway, that's a little bit of everything on these. I guess there is one thing I didn't point out, and that's a magnetic angle locator. So if someone was, say, building a railing, metal railing for stairs, they can attach this to the stairs and they can know exactly what angle they need to be at. So comes in a lot of handy tools that come in handy, that if you have the right one for the job, makes the job go a little quicker. So anyway, thank you very much.